Join the Dark Order.
Whoa. I guess we're not going to hear from Marco Stunt as -1 is making his way to the ring with mic in hand. Things are percolating here.
Marco, every time I see you, you win with someone with you. Like Luchasaurus or Jungle Boy. In a tag team match, you always win because you got a bigger person than you. When I'm older and I fight you, I'm gonna be so much taller.
Marco setting the microphone down. Whoa! Oh! Some physicality here. We're going to need security to keep these two men separated for the safety of each other, because if this could very easily turn into a seriously physical situation. Oh! -1 breaking away from Cody Rhodes. Marco! Oh, Marco! No! Things are just breaking down here inside.
Welcome to Talk AEW, the AEW podcast from Goombastomp.com and TiltMagazine.net. I'm Ian Goodwillie, here as always with Mariko McDonald.
Hello, boys.
And the editor of Goombastomp.com and TiltMagazine.net, Ricky D.
What's up, Ian? I got an email that my AEW action figures are on their way. Pretty soon I'm going to have the whole entire collection on my desk. So excited.
So Ringside got some of their back order in, so hopefully we'll see. I saw some people actually putting up pictures of seeing them in stores, which rarely happens. I don't think they were in Canada, though, so.
Can I buy these action figures in Montreal, given that we're now in like an extreme lockdown?
I don't think you're allowed to leave your house in Montreal right now.
Unless you're taking out the garbage, which you have to do between 5 and 6, because normally you only have between 5 and 8, so you have to do it between 2 and 5 in the morning or something.
What if I go to Walmart to buy food and sneak in the action figure at the cash? Will they let me buy it?
You will be harpooned. Some
places, I actually saw at the drugstore, they were like, from this date to this date, if it's not essential, you can't buy it. I was like, what does that even mean?
How do you?
Yeah, no, things have gotten way crazy out here.
For listeners who don't know, we all live in Canada, and there are different lockdown rules across the country.
Yeah, there's a curfew, there's new rules. You can't even... It's so strange. Like, you can't go for a hike with other people, but apparently if you go to a ski resort, that's okay.
My brain hurts. See, I'm out in Saskatoon.
How do you think we feel?
It's definitely not as strict out here. So, but also, I don't know if we've been hit. We haven't been hit. We've definitely got a few cases, and we've had a few people die from it too, unfortunately. But yeah, it's like everything's pretty much open for business. So, yeah.
So Quebec's been especially hard hit. It's terrible.
Yeah.
The whole point is, Ian, is if for whatever reason, if Walmart does have action figures in stock, we're not allowed buying it. So we have to order online.
I wouldn't worry about it anyway. I don't think they're going to have them in Canada anyway. I have yet to talk to anybody who's found them on a Walmart shelf in Canada. Anytime I see anybody posting about seeing them in the wild, as they say, they're always pictures from the U.S.
Well, in worse news, Dynamite this week was not that great. We're going to talk about it after the break. But I think we're talking about music first, right?
Absolutely. I think it kind of came up because this week on Dark, Jungle Boy came out to a new song licensed for him by Tony Khan, as Tony Khan said on Twitter, it's a Christmas present.
He was buying some music, and
he
was buying some music because he needed that Tom Waits song. So I guess he just snapped up a bunch of things he'd been eyeing for a while.
The man is not hurting for resources, so why not, right? Like, why not have some fun with it?
He also has good taste in music.
He really does. And listening to Jungle Boy come out to Tarzan Boy, the classic 80s song, kind of like maybe like it's not like it's something that none of us have noticed before, but it kind of made me really stop and think about how great the entrance music is in AEW.
But that's sort of a deep cut because maybe for us, maybe I don't know about you guys, like I knew the song, but I don't think it's has mainstream has a lot of 80s songs are usually chosen for movies and TV shows. Like I don't think I've ever heard that specific song in a TV show and or a movie. So for me it's a deep cut, but it's a really, really good track. And the fact that it's called Jungle Boy, I mean, clearly
Tarzan.
It's called
Boy, but it's
Tarzan.
Sorry, Tarzan, yeah.
Yeah.
But it clearly makes sense for Jungle Boy.
And it has that wonderful chorus, which if you notice, everyone was singing along. So it doesn't matter if you know the song or not. It is so catchy. And like, okay, for the nostalgia nerds like us, like we get it on that level. But on the other hand, it's just a super fun song.
Okay, so when Tony Khan buys the rights to the song, does he just buy it for that specific episode of Dark, or does he now own the song?
I think he that I couldn't say for sure. My guess would be he purchased the rights for use for Jungle Boy on I'm guessing Dynamite. I don't know if I don't know if
usually
goes
it's
to the
like
indies.
blanket TV rights for a certain amount of time or something like that.
Okay, because I'm just wondering if we're going to hear it, say, like, next week on Dynamite. Are we going to hear it on TV as opposed to just YouTube?
That's sort of my assumption that it's going to be his new theme song as they kind of start to push him a little bit more as a singles wrestler. But I mean, it could just be wishful thinking. I mean, it was so well received. I don't see why, if he has the rights to it, why they wouldn't keep using it.
Just an FYI, it was the only other movies I could find it was used in so far were Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3 and Beverly Hills Ninja, oddly enough.
Wow.
Yes.
Those are what an odd coincidence. There was infused two movies with the word ninja in the title that are completely unrelated on any capacity. That's amazing.
And have the Tarzan Boy song. That's fantastic.
It really is. That's very odd.
I don't know, man. AEW has, I think, some of the best theme music for the wrestlers. I actually wanted to do a list on the website, and now I'm thinking, well, we could just list off our favorite songs here on the podcast. And I'll give you an example. I'm like a huge fan of the theme song for Darby Allin, and a lot of people don't talk about it, but if you just blast that at home...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if you just blast it at home, it's amazing.
Yeah, that was going to be one of my honorable mentions. I'm a big fan of, like, I guess, gothy music and, like, 80s New Romantic and stuff, and my husband refers to Darby's music as Mariko music.
Okay, quiz for you, Mariko. Darby Allin, do you know where his name comes from? The two punk singers?
Yeah, it's Darby Crash and Gigi Allen.
Okay, of course you would know, but most people don't.
Well, unless you listen to any interview where he explains it, but yeah.
Oh, okay. I've actually only heard him in one interview, and he didn't talk about it.
Okay, yeah, I think it was like an old YouTube documentary or something I saw on it where, like, just when he was starting with AEW, like, he was explaining it a lot more, but...
Okay, question number 2, trivia for Mariko today.
Yes.
What is the name of his theme song?
I'm trying to remember. I know the band's name is...
Think of his finishing move.
Goth Phase Bleeds Eternal.
So I think the name of the song is I Fell.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's something Phase Springs Eternal.
You mean like his band? He has a band, or I'm confused?
No. The band that does his theme music.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I just know it.
Okay, I can look it up. Wicca Face Springs Eternal. That's what it was. Which is just like the best band name. It tells you exactly what you're gonna get.
No, it is a really, really good song, man. That's a good song to work out to. It gets me pumped.
Yeah, obviously, Jon Moxley, if you want to get pumped, Jon Moxley's theme will get you pumped.
His theme song works so well specifically for him because it's a great song to have someone walk through the entire arena before he gets to the ring.
Yeah, and it's got that kind of, the beat kind of follows a swagger and everything.
Yeah, like you couldn't do that with, say, the theme song for the Heartbreak Kid. Like, it just wouldn't work.
But that's what I love so much about the AEW music. I think this is why we're talking about it is, you know, whether they come with their own music or, you know, they're creating music for them, everything is so perfect for each wrestler. Like it's not like, okay, we're like this brand, so we do rock music, so everybody's entrance is like rock music. It was like, well, not everybody's a rock and roll person. Like
Yeah.
Darby wouldn't work with.
I don't think you guys are going to pick the same song as me for my favorite of the bunch, but I want to know what your favorites are.
Oh, well, I mean, that's easy. I'll straight up, like, Scorpio Sky and Sean Spears have absolute bangers for theme songs. Like, that, their entrance music
I
is
forgot to shout Sean Spears.
amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, it's great. Also, oddly enough, Louis Valley, who works on Dark primarily as a jobber, his music is ridiculously cool.
I
But they
can't
just
remember his music, but
it's this weird, like even the look of his, just the basic graphics that are on the screen. It's got this weird vibe to it. It just all works. Or even I absolutely like. I mean, TH2, their music is perfect for who they are as well.
yeah.
By the way, just a quick aside. Is Snoop Dogg related to Sasha Banks? And if so, did he do the theme song for her?
Yes.
Yes, they're cousins.
Yes.
He did the theme song. Wow.
Yeah. The remix of it. Yeah, like the new
Yeah,
version.
he's
Yeah, he did that
Done
for her.
some theme work for her.
Because he remixed Cody Rhodes' song this week on Dynamite.
Yeah.
He came out with her at WrestleMania a few years ago, right? Like he entered with her, like they're cousins. She credits him with her love of wrestling because he took her to her first wrestling event years ago.
Right. I just wasn't sure if it was a real life storyline or just something they created to create buzz.
Oh, very real.
No,
And
it's real. She was dogging him actually for his failed frog splash or whatever that was supposed to be. Yeah, she was mocking him on Twitter.
when he awkwardly fell off the top rope.
I mean, hey, dude's in his 50s. He didn't need to go to the top rope, you know?
It was the 420 frog splash.
Oh, I get it. Okay.
It was the limp, dead body drop off the top frog splash. That was the man is in his 60s, isn't he?
He's pushing 60. I didn't see him wearing any knee pads, so I mean,
Ooh.
you know.
I give him props for trying. I mean, good for him.
I don't understand how tall that man is.
Absolutely. Oh,
But
yeah. He's like 7 feet tall.
He's super tall, and he is super skinny too. Like he is a tall, skinny man. There was years ago on the roast of Justin Bieber, the Comedy Central did. I think it was Kevin Hart who called him, like, because Shaq was one of the roasters too, as was Snoop, and Kevin Hart called Snoop. He called him Shaq's skeleton.
Wow. He's 6'3".
I love it.
All right, same height as me then, but still, like, I probably got 100 pounds on the guy. Like he's skinny dude.
But look, the music in AEW is amazing. From Marco Stunt singing in the waiting room to the acclaimed music video, which we didn't talk about last week. That was like the Young Bucks music video.
Great.
So fun. And then of course the theme songs, and then having Tony Khan buy the rights to popular pop music. I just love what they are doing with the entire package. Like, we talked about this a few weeks ago, how they can improve the show. We talked about the music, we talked about the lighting, the whole, production values, editing, et cetera, the promos. And I think they do a better job than most, if not all, wrestling promotions, past and present.
I think so. I remember, I don't remember how long ago, it was a few years back, but I remember somebody writing a criticism of WWE, asking them why they were afraid of rap music so much. Because every single wrestler had a virtually identical rock song, whether it made sense or not. And that's the kind of thing, like, when you watch AEW, what you feel like is they're trying to build something that fits the wrestler, whereas, like, look at AJ Styles' song. The theme song he's using in WWE, that was originally created for James Storm.
Jesus.
Like, when he was supposed to join, when he was in the process of joining NXT, and I think he briefly appeared a couple times, that music was originally created for James Storm, and then he didn't use it, so then they asked AJ if he wanted it. So, and I mean, it works. It happened. I think it works really well for AJ, but I mean, that's kind of the way it works there. They create something. They don't create something to fit the wrestler. They try to make the wrestler fit the image that they want for them, right? That's always been the way it's worked there. Whereas you see what's going on in AEW, and they looked at what they were doing with Sean Spears and said, this is the music we want for you. When they looked at Scorpio Sky, when he was, because he's more or less, like, is he really even part of SCU at this point. Like, when was the last time you saw the three of them together? When they were sort of splitting him off into a singles competitor, they looked at the music he needed, and what they gave him was, like, Taz raved about it on Dark for weeks, and he should have. It is a great track. It is an amazing track.
My favorite song is actually the theme song for Hikura Shida. I love that song, and that is a song that you can actually put in a Shaw Brothers film or some martial arts film made in Hong Kong or Japanese Yakuza film. Like, it not only suits her character, but it's so different than all the theme songs for any of the wrestlers in AEW. It is by far my favorite song.
Yeah, I love that it's like this mix of Japanese and a little bit of Western at the end with the guitar. Bum, 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 bum.
Yeah, totally. I think I agree with you on Sheeta. I think she's got great music too. I think there's definitely. It's one of those things where I've been trying to think of one, like a wrestler at AEW, where I desperately don't like the music, and I'm honestly having trouble thinking of somebody that I'm like, oh, that music's terrible. I'm like, even everybody has a decent track. Like, I think what they got, like, they've got good music game. I don't know what else to say, you know.
But by the way, I could be wrong, but I think her song, it's her brother that composed the song. Like, she's been using it for years. I don't think it was made specifically for AEW.
No, I don't think so.
But it's still a great song.
Absolutely, yeah, that's super cool. Yeah, hey, that's awesome.
One theme I noticed you guys haven't talked about yet, and then I'll talk about my top, which I think is going to be kind of obvious, but, like, there's no denying it. But the first one I wanted to talk about was Ricky Stark's theme, because that just bangs definitely. So freaking hard, and I have it stuck in my head every freaking day.
Especially the intro when it says,
"Oh, the revolution will be televised."
Even the little, like, his little movements, his poses.
Oh yeah, and the bang, bang, the guitar, like
the chain.
When they release the AEW video game, I cannot wait to just do his taunts, because his taunts are like the best taunts in all of AEW.
Yep.
Yeah. The other one that we haven't talked about yet for some reason, which maybe because it's so brand new, but, like, again, we're talking about themes that fit the wrestlers so perfectly. Just the music, you know exactly who they are, exactly what's happening, and gives that person just enormous amounts of presence, even if they already have it on their own, but it just adds to it so much. And that's Sting's entrance. No, that entrance is like the most epic thing I've ever seen. It's ridiculous.
Well, it has to be perfect. It's the only thing he does.
No, but he feels larger than life. Like, he's like a superstar. Like, there's stars, he's superstar level, and that song is made for someone who's larger than life, like the kind of guy who everyone respects and loves and is a household name. Yeah,
it's pomp and circumstance and royalty.
I agree with everything you're saying. I could do without the fake snow now. I was good with that for Winter is Coming, but if I see, like, Taz having to wipe fake foam out of his eye one more time, or it hitting the camera, it's driving me nuts. That was fine for that first time. I didn't expect it's like when the Fiend was debuted in WWE, and they for a while were doing all of his match, like, he enters with, then the lights all in the stadium or wherever are red, right?
Oh, the red lights. God,
and then when they started actually wrestling, when he wrestled a couple matches under the red light, I'm like, well, you don't need to do it all the time. And that's how I feel about this foam party thing each week too, because he comes out and I don't need the foam. I don't need the fake snow. Like, I didn't realize his whole theme
was because of how over the top it is, but I like the fact that it's getting old. I want it to completely jump the shark and keep going, but
the song from Sean Spears, it's done by a famous, like, hip hop artist, and he's the guy who also did the song for Velveteen Dream. So he's done a bunch of songs for wrestlers, like, not just, like, AEW, but different promotions. But yeah, he's pretty awesome. Like, I would like to know because I know I've heard, maybe, I guess you guys would know, but is there a specific crew, like, people they hire, like a music team in AEW or in WWE? Like, I'm assuming yes, or do they
both have musical directors that oversee all the music, and then if they need to write something, like, that's kind of the head creative person working on that process. I don't know if you saw, I think it was BT a couple of weeks ago, they actually had the musical director on with his new rap song or whatever it was, wasn't really my taste, but
That's cool.
Okay, so he was on the YouTube channel like an interview, or he was just like fooling around?
no,
Like
he
everyone else?
was like it was kind of like a favor from the Young Bucks to be like, oh, you can premiere your new music video for your, your rap project on our YouTube channel. That's kind of what they did at the end of the episode, was like, okay, here's this music video.
Holy cow, we're completely forgetting about one song. It's not my favorite, but it might be the most popular. It's Judas, the Chris Jericho theme song, which of course comes from his band, but everyone loves it.
I love Judas, but I mean, I love that song before he started with AEW. So, like, I like Fozzy. I like their music. I like the song Judas, but that song existed before, like long before AEW was a thing. So it's not
But
like
I
he
think
wrote it specifically.
really the thing that makes us all love it so much is being able to sing along with it. Like that's a lot of, I think, the appeal of Judas
totally.
right now. Yeah.
Absolutely, yes. No, it's a great track. I love seeing the smile on his face when everyone in the audience is singing along, because he enjoys it. You could tell he savors that moment legitimately every time it happens, which is awesome.
Do you like the Cody Rhodes theme song?
I liked it better before I heard it live.
I don't like it. I know everyone loves it. I know Downstate, they do a bunch of theme songs for a bunch of wrestlers, especially in WWE. I've just never liked it.
Actually, that brings up one of the things that maybe I hadn't thought about. I had thought about it before, but I didn't think about it in relation to this. One of the few things I don't like about AEW's music and their whole intro packages is how many of them start with somebody, like just some spoken word something.
Oh my goodness. And I mean, I get it's part of the character, but like I am so over Kenny's douchebag entrances. Like I get that it's part of the character and everything, but like how many times does just have to say North Carolina before we all just like murder someone?
I don't. Why he's not? Why do they say that? I don't. I'm missing something.
Because Kenny Omega thinks it's funny. That's literally it. Yeah.
Yeah. He just thinks that listening. So he just thinks listening to Justin Roberts.
The way that Justin Roberts says North Carolina.
I don't know. I like it. I like it because it suits his character. It's supposed to be annoying, and I do like Justin Roberts, and his delivery is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I did just say I like the snow, and that's getting old. So, like, yeah, I get it.
Is it that you don't like it, or you don't like the fact that they do it every week?
I don't like the fact that they do it every week. Like, it's...
Okay.
Yeah, like, I get that it's the character. I get that... I don't know. It's just... Yeah.
I mean, I would say he's doing his job if it annoys you that much.
That's the thing. Like,
right?
I can't really criticize it because, like, the whole thing is built to, like, rile up marks like me, and here I am getting all riled up on a podcast. So, he's doing his job, but...
The only thing I would change is the North Carolina thing. If it's just there because Kenny thinks it's funny, everything else, like, keep doing it, keep driving me nuts with it. But that part, I'm like, I was
the Dancing Girls, on the other hand, I find hilarious.
Oh, those are amazing. Like, they come out and sweep, and then, oh no, that whole pack, I find that hilarious.
It's so dumb.
Do you know whose music I honestly love and find oddly contradictory to his character is Lance Archer's.
Yeah.
I enjoy it, and I enjoy
but the melody sounds like Bon Jovi.
Well, it sounds like a weird mix of, like, late 90s, early 2000s pop punk and emo, and I'm like, I don't know what this is. I kind of enjoy it. It's really weird for his character, but yet somehow it kind of works. It's very strange. Maybe it's just because I like
Everybody Dies, and I think that's... I mean,
it really does.
Yeah.
And
then it turns into Bon Jovi.
Kenny Omega's entrance, like, you know how you're talking about the North Carolina thing? It's a reference to Michael Jordan because he originally is from North Carolina, played basketball there, but it makes no sense. Like, what's his connection to Jordan?
Yeah, Britt Baker had her whole, like, I'm Michael Jordan thing, but, like...
I just don't get the connection from Kenny Omega to Michael Jordan.
I genuinely just think he thinks it's funny.
Yeah, the one theme song that I remember liking, but I can't remember what it sounds like because we haven't seen her in forever, it's Riho's theme song.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she has a good theme song.
Yeah, I was going to give another Joshi girl a honorable mention, Yuka Sakazawa's music, because they let her go back to her original theme.
Oh, yeah.
is just like 4 billion beats per minute, and it gets you so hype. And it's so perfect for her character because she's just like this like living pixie girl and like super fast and bubbly. And I love it. It almost gives me a heart attack every time I hear it because it's so freaking fast and obnoxious, but I love it.
You know who else I love? I love Eddie Kingston's music, but the problem is whenever it plays, he runs out with a microphone and tells them to cut it off seconds
You never
after
get to
it
hear
starts.
it.
So yeah, you never actually get to hear the song, but the rare occasion that it plays, it's actually really good, but he just cuts it off constantly. And I get that because the man has got on the mic. Did you see that? Okay, Sports Illustrated put out their top 10 wrestlers of 2020. Number 1, Sasha Banks. Not a surprise. I think John Moxley was number 2. Number 10 was Eddie Kingston. They put Eddie Kingston as their number 10 best wrestler in the world because they had guys from New Japan on there too. And I'm like,
wow.
We're good for Eddie.
Good for him.
Absolutely. Good for him for getting that recognition. He deserves recognition. He's
Yeah.
good at what he does, and it's nice to see him get some.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw the footage of him hyping people up before
I did.
the tribute show. Yeah, that was really nice.
That's a man who's a born leader. Like standing out in the back like that, like being real and honest with everybody, getting everybody ready to do this amazing show. That's what a leader does, you know.
Before we move on, I don't want to get too negative, but if you had to improve or change one theme song, one entrance for a wrestler, who would you change?
I think I would. I know it's not going to happen. I would change Cody's. Like it's. You see, Kenny Omega and Sting, like, I mean, despite there's those details that bother some people and not others in both of them, they're still big in a good way. Cody's is big and weird, and his pyro drags on, and that whole thing where that special entrance area that only he gets to use, he walks through that's the part that I think bothers me. Everybody else in the promotion enters through the tunnels, through the old tunnels they bought from TNA, that they used to use in 2007 is what it looks like sometimes. I can never get that out of my mind. But then Cody Rhodes has a special gate he enters through, and that drives me nuts. I think the music could use some work. The pyro goes on way too long, and the fact that he has his own special entrance is just obnoxious.
Yeah, that's never going to change.
I know. I know none of that will ever change.
But I think we all agree. We all agree he would be my pick too. But my special mention would actually be my favorite wrestler. Can you guess? Sammy Guevara.
Sammy.
I think he needs a change, and I think changing his music and his entrance is a good way to start. Like, I'm not saying a huge change because I love him as a wrestler, but I think I really do think they should change his music and his entrance. I just don't think it really suits his character. And it's my least favorite song of all of the entrance themes.
I'm definitely not a big fan of it either. It doesn't really honestly stand out. That's the weird part. Like, he's such a talented wrestler, and he does stand out when he's in the ring. He's good at what he does, but the music just kind of is it's honestly a little blah.
I prefer his vlog music, honestly, like the outro.
Yep. Yes. And, I don't know when or why he dropped the whole panda gimmick thing, because I kind of like that. Like, I like
the
when
panda
he
thing was hilarious. Like that, I don't know what that was. I never completely got it as what the if it was a reference.
It was literally just he likes pandas.
Well, you know what?
And I think that's why he ended up dropping it, because that's literally what it was. Also, he was too afraid of the panda head getting damaged in transit because it cost him so much money. So it kind of lives in Texas now and doesn't really come out anymore.
I can't argue with that. I mean, if that's coming out of his own, well, that's obviously coming out of his own pocket. If it's expensive, he's not replacing it. So if he
it was like $2,000 or $3,000 or something for the panda head. Yeah.
Snap.
Yeah, it was like a custom made thing. This woman who makes like bear hoods, and he's like, "Could you make a panda?"
Yeah, he talked about it on. He had a great interview with what is his name, Van Fleet.
Oh yeah, Chris Van
Van
Vliet.
Fleet. Yeah,
I remember that because a friend of mine married a Chris Van Vliet. It's so weird.
He what?
They have exactly the same name. I have a friend from high school who married a dude named Chris Van Vliet, and that's how I know how to pronounce the name, and I always remember
it. I thought you said your friend married him, and I'm like, man, get him on
No.
the show. I like that dude. He's cool. The last thing I'm
No.
going to say, and this might be a good transition to the next talk spot, unless you guys have something to add, but Colt Cabana's theme song does not work for him at the moment because he's supposed to be part of the Dark Order, which we can talk about soon. But the idea of like having all of these factions that are heels, and he has this really poppy, fun sort of like 80s Colt Cabana tune, like it just doesn't work for him at the moment.
Like a Saturday morning cartoon show intro or something.
But he's part of the Dark Order. Like it's so odd.
I kind of don't mind it just because it's Colt Cabana and he's meant to be kind of like the square peg of the Dark Order right now, but I mean, we'll see what happens.
All right. So that wraps up the first segment. We'll be back in a little bit after the break to talk about this week's episode of Dynamite. Don't go away. And we're back with Talk AEW, the AEW podcast from GoombaStomp.com and TiltMagazine.net. This segment, Ricky, Mariko, and I will be talking about this week's episode of Dynamite, which really struck a chord with us and not in the best way. Rick, I know you have some thoughts on this.
We don't normally review episodes of Dynamite match by match, beat by beat, because there are too many AEW podcasts who already do that. So we try to, be a little bit more creative and with our talk spots and do things that people don't normally do on a weekly basis. But anyways, the point is we want to talk about this, but it's not necessarily going to be us breaking down the whole entire episode beat by beat, match by match, but we do want to pinpoint why for us, or at least for me, it was disappointing. And one of the main problems I have with AEW right now is I don't know who is a heel and who is a face. And I'll give you a prime example. So at the start of this episode, we have the match with the Young Bucks and SCU. At the end of the episode, they turn heel and join the now reborn Bullet Club.
I think it's not like it hasn't happened before. I mean, that happened with Dean Ambrose, when John Moxley, when he was Dean Ambrose, right? Like the night that Roman announced he was having to take a step back to deal with his leukemia, there was that huge moment off the start. They were all happy and hugging, and, well, not happy, obviously, but they were all hugging and blah, blah, blah. And then a day later in the episode, Ambrose and Rollins teamed up and won the Raw Tag Team Championships, and then immediately after, Ambrose turned heel. At the end of that same episode, Ambrose turned heel on Rollins. Like, it's not... that didn't bother me. That happens in wrestling. That's an angle they use where they start off making everything look, happy and face-ish, and at the end everything turns. Like that didn't bother. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of things in the episode that bothered me. That one didn't so much.
Yeah, I feel like it seemed abrupt, but that's because they were ending the episode with it. Like, we're gonna get a bit more explanation from everybody next week. I wasn't too concerned about that. It didn't really bother me. Obviously, there's going to be some kind of revelation as to whether they're joining or what that was all about. But I'm okay with not actually knowing that yet. They're going to tell us.
I think the thing is, sorry, just quickly. I think the reason why it bugs me is because I think from a storytelling point of view, it would have been more interesting if it ended with ambiguity, and maybe we, the viewers, were left thinking, are the Young Bucks going to challenge the tag team champions from the other promotion, like Impact? Are the Young Bucks going to team with John Moxley? Would it be those three versus those three? Or are the Young Bucks going to join the Bullet Club? Having us, the viewers, suspended, waiting an entire week to find out the answer, like having that sort of like, not a twist, but like a cliffhanger, I thought would have been better than them just sort of doing what I thought they were going to do, which is exactly what they did. So I don't know.
I don't disagree with you. That definitely would have been better storytelling. But yeah, I mean, I don't specifically have a problem with what they did, but what you're proposing definitely would have been better. One of my favorite responses to it actually came from Tamatonga and Bad Luck Fale over in Japan, because like somebody asked, I think it was Tonga, about this reincarnation of the Bullet Club over in AEW / Impact. And his what he said was, at this point, it's only Bullet Club when the Tongans are in it. Anything else is just guys that wish they were back in Bullet Club. And I'm like,
Nice.
slam. And being that AEW has been talking to New Japan about doing some crossover work too, that could be a beginning of an interpromotional, like, civil war of Bullet Club members or something. Who knows?
Right. If this is leading to a huge pay-per-view crossover event, that is great. That is fantastic. Like, I don't know where it's going, but right now they are mixing Impact superstars with AEW superstars. I'm interested to see where it goes. Like I said, if it ends up giving us some great matches and some sort of crossover pay-per-view event, that would be fantastic. But the problem I have with AEW, and this is what I noticed this week, I think the episode was kind of like a mess. But overall, it's just that I feel like we have a gazillion factions that are heels, and 90% of the roster is in a faction. So it's like everyone's a heel and everyone's part of a faction. You got Team Taz, you got the Dark Order, which I know they're maybe going to turn face, but right now they're still heels. You have Inner Circle, you have this new Bullet Club. You know, there's all of these factions and they're all heels. And I know we have the Nightmare Family, but like, can we honestly take them seriously at this point? I don't think so.
I don't think they're a real faction. Lee Johnson runs around in a windbreaker with Nightmare Family on it, which is great. I love Lee Johnson, but then on Dark he's teaming with Sean Dean. There's 900 people in the freaking Nightmare Family. Like, QT couldn't have come out and teamed with them for that. Like, I don't understand. One of the 87 members of the Gunn family who were in AEW couldn't have jumped in the ring with him for that. Dustin couldn't have come out for that. Like, it just keeps. I don't understand how he's a man. Like, he rarely appears with them. Every once in a while somebody comes out with them. The Gun Club have abandoned even wearing their little they rarely even wear their windbreakers out anymore. Yeah. So I don't even like the Nightmare Family is a mess.
My suspicion is that, I mean, this is really, really cynical of me, but they realized that they needed a person of color in the Nightmare Family, because diversity is something that they're trying to sell.
I mean, they have Brandy, right?
Well, they needed a dude, a black dude. Yeah. Balance things out. I think the original plan was for Scorpio Sky to join the Nightmare Family because they were kind of drawing them together. They were having the fact that he's Brandy's cousin, apparently.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, crap. I had no idea.
Yeah, apparently they're related. But I think they decided that, okay, that would be too confusing with SCU, and we don't want to, those guys are baby faces, so we don't want to break that up. So we'll just get Lee Johnson. And so, Lee Johnson is the token.
But you know what I think they're going to do? I think they actually are. They've already started. I think the Inner Circle are going to turn face, like the entire faction, instead of them breaking up, because like MJF's character has completely changed in the past 2 weeks. He's actually like a nice guy. Like what he did in this episode by going into the locker room to talk to Jake Hager, who lost the match to Wardlow. Oh. And not only did he lose the match to Wardlow, but they shook hands at the end. And what he did last week with Santana and Ortiz, where he went to go comfort, was it Santana? Because I think his grandma died, or Ortiz. So to me, like the Inner Circle right now are sort of becoming baby faces. And now you got Jericho on commentary, and he's always praising all of the wrestlers, even though he's supposed to be a heel. So this could be a good thing. Like maybe me here complaining right now today will lead to a good thing with AEW. Like right now there's too many factions that are heels. Maybe in the next few weeks they're going to turn babyface.
That honestly does seem to happen, because basically whenever we bring something up in about 3 or 4 weeks, it's usually fixed or addressed in some way.
Are you saying that we predict the future, or are we secretly writing AEW?
Well, I just think
we're the Simpsons of wrestling.
Yeah, I think we're tapped into the pulse of the wrestling public, and when Tony taps into that, things happen.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but I don't think the Inner Circle. I think saying that MJF is being nice, I don't think that's right. I think what MJF is doing is he's trying to endear himself. The angle that they're working is that MJF is trying to endear himself to the rest of the Inner Circle to push Jericho out as the leader. I don't think you're watching him turn face. You're watching a power play. He's not changing.
If
he
stopped to anyone, he's not trying to manipulate.
Exactly. This is all a manipulate. If they drop MJF as a heel, they are just throwing money out the window as far as I'm concerned. That would be in pure insanity. Yeah. The man is a monster heel. What you're watching is a power play by him, by his character, to take over the Inner Circle and push Jericho out and maybe fragment it, maybe create an inner Civil War type situation. I don't know. But I would be shocked to watch MJF and the Inner Circle turn face. Some of them might, but I don't see them becoming a face faction. Just because MJF is fighting them, I think that's a leap to say that they're turning face. I think it's more likely, as Mariko said, that you're going to see the Dark Order turn face. Like they're such people love them before everything that happened, and post Brody Lee, they've got so much goodwill coming their way. To not ride that wave to face them, it would just be dumb. Sense.
It would be really, really dumb, especially now that you've got Tay Conti officially in the faction. Like there's
and Adam Page is orbiting them at this point.
Yes. I mean, he's once he joins, that's what's gonna turn them face, in my opinion.
Absolutely, yes.
Here we are talking about the last episode of Dynamite, and I feel like I'm the only person that disliked the episode.
No.
Okay, because the thing is, I felt that most of the matches, if not all the matches, were sloppy. And this is the thing where a lot of people criticize AEW for, what's the terminology they use? Being too... Where it's so obvious that the wrestlers are positioning themselves in a specific way in order for the opponents to pull off a kick-ass move, which therefore makes it look incredibly fake. Like, we all know it's scripted, but it's like, how fake do you want to make it look type thing. And I felt like, especially with the Cody match with Matt Sydal, I felt it was so sloppy.
Oh man, that was so sloppy. I felt so bad because I was expecting an amazing match and just, I don't know if it was like an off night or something.
No, I thought that match was terrible. I thought the women's match was terrible. I thought we spent 50% of the women's match in commercial time. And the Matt Sydal, I'm sorry guys, I think his career is pretty much over in the sense that he's never going to achieve a championship title, because I think that was his make it or break it moment, and he did not make it.
Yeah, I felt so bad for him watching that, but I need to rant about that women's match.
Go for it.
Because, okay, half of it was during commercials.
It was.
The other half was watching an empty ring because they were underneath it spraying fake blood on each other. I do not tune in.
It was bad. It was really bad.
To watch an empty ring for minutes. Like, okay, you go in there, you do your thing. No, it was minutes.
I just want to make something clear. I'm a big fan of Abadon, but that match was terrible.
As much as I like Abadon, she is not the best worker. It's a great gimmick. Although I will also criticize Jericho for constantly using the word gimmick while discussing Abadon on commentary. Like, I get this a gimmick.
That was an odd choice.
Gimmick, but it just took away from the character. It took away from the match, which was not really great.
Jericho buried her is what he did. He buried
Oh my
her.
God, it was terrible. Everything about it. I was just so mad after that match. It was terribly booked. It was just corny. It just made me mad.
The only two wrestlers in AEW who stick to their character off camera and on camera is Abadon and MJF. And now he completely killed her by calling it a gimmick on commentary over and over and over. Jericho, I like Jericho sometimes on commentary. My head was hurting on Wednesday listening to him on commentary. The guy keeps screaming and screaming and screaming. It's like, that's a gimmick. Like, you just won't
it was
stop
just
screaming.
Like everything was off. Like, moves were all sloppy. Jericho was ruining things. Okay, I mean, obviously it's hard to follow up the amazement that was the Brody Lee tribute show, but at
the same time, we're not talking about one match or two matches being bad. Like, everything in this episode was bad up until the last match. Like, an hour and a half of it was just bad, in my opinion.
No, there were large chunks that were bad. Things that should have been great matches. Like that Cody Matt Sydal match, I was excited for. It was meh. The Shida, title defense, like, I always get hyped, even though I know that I shouldn't. And that was easily one of, like, the crummiest women's matches.
It was the worst women's match they've had in AEW.
I was just baffled, honestly.
It was horrible.
It was bafflingly bad.
Answer me this: Wardlow versus Jake Hager. Haven't we been asking for this match since we started the podcast? And could they? It wasn't bad, but could they not have done a better job to spotlight these two dudes? Like, I don't know. Maybe that's just me being too picky. I felt like this could have been a main event.
Well, it could have been better.
Yes, but Jake Hager also needs to work on his conditioning, because dude was out of breath about 10 seconds into the thing.
Yeah. I'm glad Wardlow won that, though.
Oh, that was a moment. That was like a huge bright spot of a overall fairly disappointing episode.
Here's my thing with this. Okay, so a while back when Shayna Baszler debuted on the main roster in WWE,
oh yeah,
ran out to the ring and she threw Becky down and bit her neck, and everyone's like, "What the fuck?" Nobody responded positively to that. Nobody thought that was a good idea. I don't think anybody in WWE thought it was a good idea, except for probably Vince.
So we'll do it again, and then we'll make it the highlight of the freaking match, but you won't actually see anything.
It's not even just that. It's that AEW did it twice.
Yes.
Because she bit her before.
Yeah.
Nobody responded well to that. And then AEW said, hey, let's do it again.
And we'll make it like the main segment of the match and put it underneath the ring.
I think Jericho called him out on that, though. On commentary, he was like, can they even do this? Was it him or was it Excalibur?
I want to say it was Jericho, because I felt like Excalibur most of the night, and especially when he's working with Taz, like, he's the guy trying to keep everything on the rails usually.
I feel bad being so negative.
Seldom successful, but he still tries.
Yeah, I feel bad being so negative, but I just thought that, like, this was, because this entire night was heavily promoted. It's like part one of this big two-nighter event. Like, you have Snoop Dogg on, you're spending tons of money getting celebrities to make an appearance just so they could do some odd frog splash from the top rope. Snoop Dogg was fine, but it's just overall, like, if you're a first-time viewer of AEW, like, you tune in to watch this program because of Snoop Dogg or whatever, you're going to think that this is like a terrible wrestling promotion.
Was there anything you guys liked about the episode?
The opening match was good. The opening matches are usually good if they're a tag team match.
The opening match was okay. It wasn't great. It was good. It was okay. I think that basically Kenny Omega and specifically Rey Fenix saved the night. And I think you would agree, Ian, because I read your review, and Rey Fenix pretty much shined and shows why he can and should be a champion one day.
Well, and he's one of the more talented guys they've got. I'm hoping that they give him a real shot at some point, put him to good use. Everything else in the night was kind of messy, but at least Ray looked good. I mean, and he always does. I mean, what else do you expect from him? But I mean, you look at the matches he put, like the match he had the night before on Dark was amazing. That was, speaking of Dark, okay, this was one of the things that bothered me, because this was taped prior to Brody Lee passing away. It was intended to air on the night that they did the Brody Lee tribute, and that's, everything changed, and it is what it had to be given the situation. But when you watch Dynamite, they put that crawl on the bottom of the screen at one point that usually outlines who won on Dark the night before. The graphics were for the episode of Dark that would have aired the night before if it had aired on its original date. They couldn't take the time to change that to the episode of Dark that actually happened before it, because it was 2 weeks out of date.
I hate to say this, but they maybe think most people don't watch Dark. And you know what's funny is I listen to a lot of AEW wrestling podcasts, and none of them watch Dark. I think we are the only people who do an AEW podcast that actually watches Dark.
Well, they're missing out, because there's a ton of great talent on there. Danny Limelight is the shit.
The best moments of AEW this week were on Dark. Dark this week was by far a better show. Watching Brody Lee Jr. walk out and totally work Marco Stunt was the highlight of the week. So if you haven't seen Dark, go watch it.
those two Brody Lee Jr. segments. Amanda Huber was talking about it online. She didn't know they were going to be on Dark. They didn't tell her. They just thought they were shooting them for fun. And then those two segments with them ended up, and apparently, like, she and Brody Lee Jr. were just like, "Oh my God, and they were amazing." I'm glad they put them in there.
And the kid wrote his own material, right? It wasn't scripted. They just told him to do what you want to do, and he scripted his own dialogue.
Yeah. It was amazing.
Your face is stupid.
7, and he cuts a better promo than half the roster. Amazing.
He cuts a better promo than Marco Stunt, that's for sure.
Well, he just, and I just, the kid has got, I don't know if the kid will choose to go into wrestling when he's old enough. I hope. Do what you want,
He has a contract
kid.
that says he
You've
has a
got the
job if he
contract.
does.
If you want to do it, I think just watching him in the ring over these last couple of weeks, watching him be around the ring. Did you guys see that video of him working with Liv Morgan this week?
No.
Because he was they were over hanging out with Natalia and her husband, whose name just forgot. Oh my God, TJ, sorry buddy, I forgot your name there for a minute. Natalia and her husband, and Liv Morgan, and Liv and Brody Lee were working just around the ring together. And Liv's obviously a trained professional wrestler, and she worked with him well. But he obviously cares about it. He obviously has a passion for it. He obviously, possibly, I from what I've seen, has an aptitude for it. So what, kid, if you want to do it, if you want to jump in there, I guarantee you've got a world of people behind you. So do what you want in your life, but you got the support. I'll tell you that much.
What did you think of the ending? Like, did you like the ending? Like, do you like the idea of them sort of reforming this Bullet Club, which a lot of people say will never be a Bullet Club because it's missing specific members? Like, what do you guys think of this whole cross-promotion thing?
Yeah,
I did this already. We did this already in WWE. We did this when Finn was briefly working with the Good Brothers. We did it when AJ was working with the Good Brothers. This pseudo Bullet Club reunion thing has already been done with two of the people who are doing it again. I don't need to see this again.
Yeah, hopefully there's some kind of surprise at the end of all this, or some kind of humorous twist, because otherwise it just kind of feels a little bit old.
I'm telling you, they should go with my idea. The Young Bucks should turn on Kenny, and they should join forces with Jon Moxley. It would give us a fantastic 3 versus 3 match, if they are even going to give us a match with wrestlers from different promotions. At this point, I don't know. They just keep showing up. By the way, Sting, once again, shows up, does the exact same thing. I like building up to a big, huge match. I like the idea of slowly building a story and a character, but I don't like repetition. So it's now been 8 weeks. Sting shows up week after week after week, does the exact same thing. It takes up 10 minutes of our airtime because it takes 10 minutes for him to get to the ring, which, by the way, we do love his entrance, but I'm just saying, do something new. And Darby Allin still hasn't defended the damn TV championship on TV since he's won it last year in the last pay-per-view, which was 12 weeks ago. So too much repetition. This episode to me was a complete mess, and I don't even know if I should be hyped anymore for part 2 of this 2-night special, because maybe my expectations were too high, and that's why I'm so let down. But that aside, I really do think it was the worst episode of Dynamite I've seen in quite some time.
Yeah, I have to sort of assume that there was a lot of last-minute scrambling, and that had a lot to do with, because they had to move around these big days, or big shows for the tribute show and whatnot. So I want to give them the benefit of the doubt and say that's what was going on. But
you can't give them benefit. They filmed it before anything happened with the tribute show.
No, I don't think so.
No, I think they did.
Well, then why
do the show live? And then...
They did. Then why would they had a crawl? They had a 2-week. Then why would they put up a 2-week out-of-date crawl for what happened on Dark?
No, they filmed it before because Tony Khan had to write the entire script for the tribute show on a Monday night to film it on Wednesday. That was already filmed, so they filmed that. I don't know if Tuesday or Wednesday, the tribute show. So for sure it was filmed before.
Both halves of this big New Year's Eve thing were filmed and in the can before they even started planning the tribute show. They had to call people back for it, So you can't even give them that benefit of the doubt based on the tribute show. It was done before that even came. That was even a thought in their heads.
The only good news is that Britt Baker is going to be doing the waiting room on Dynamite next week.
Oh, Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So a lot of people haven't yet seen it because, again, a lot of people don't watch Dark, and you should be watching Dark, people, if you like AEW. So if you haven't watched Dark, go back and watch some episodes of The Waiting Room, especially the one in which Sean Spears shows up, because that was the funniest thing they've ever done, and the one with Marco Stunt was amazing.
Did you guys? Okay, I probably asked this question before. Did you guys ever watch Parks and Rec when it was on?
Yes.
Do you remember in the final season when they do the last episode of Johnny Karate's whatever insane show of maniacal mayhem, and April tells him every week this show is like beautiful chaos. It's a train wreck and everyone loves it. That's Britt Baker's show. It's this beautiful pile of random chaos that I'm not even sure what it's trying to be sometimes, but goddamn, it just works. And it's because Britt and Rebel are so ridiculous. They lean into the ridiculousness of it, and that's what, love it.
Rebel just doesn't get enough
Anything.
love for what she does. Like, her Ed McMahon is so amazing. Like,
her fake laugh.
It kills me. And those faces that she pulls.
Oh my god.
So
it's
good.
So
like,
good.
she just cracks me up. Like, she doesn't have to say anything at all and just completely kills me.
She gets it. She gets what she's doing. She understands it. And I don't know how long her and Britt have known each other prior to all of this, but you'd swear to God.
Yeah, the way they play off each other is fantastic.
You think they've been best friends for 20 years. Like, it just like everything about it clicks. Like, it's all worked. Yeah, I will admit I am missing Tony and Britt interacting more. Like, It's been a long time since their things kind of faded away, and I would like to see it come back a bit more. I don't know how they do that, but I just...
Well, you know how they do it, Ian. They give her the belt. Because, like, I love Shida, but at this point I gave up on AEW doing anything good with Shida. So she's always been the best thing about the women's division. She's one of the best heels, maybe like the second best heel in the company. MJF, I think, is better.
Yes. Yeah, no, definitely.
And you know... Sorry, I just remembered, I don't know why I just remembered this, but one more thing I hated about this episode was, like, when they showed a footage of Pac and Penta in the back, and, like, Eddie Kingston is, like, holding Pac, but he's not really holding him down, like, he's not really doing anything with Pac, like, it's just, like, again...
Funny
like,
was the one intimidating Pac. I was just like,
it was so bad.
I'll suspend my disbelief, but...
Well, and then it brings up the next question. Okay, so how is Eddie Kingston and his family involved in this now, or are they just being dicks to Death Triangle? It's so confusing. No, they didn't even need them. That's the thing. They could have just cut the video of Pac and Penta laying unconscious on the ground. That's the stupid part. They didn't even need to include Eddie's family in that. They could have literally just...
Everyone's part of a faction. Everyone, except for Jon Moxley. Darby Allin's part of some new faction with Sting, but we don't know what it is yet. And, like, who else is not part of a faction?
If you don't know who's part of a faction, that means there's an 80% chance that they're a member of the Nightmare family. Like, if they haven't explicitly said they're Team Taz or the Inner Circle, they're probably in the Nightmare family.
The only people that are not part of a faction are people that keep losing week after week on Dark.
That's what it feels like.
I think so,
well,
honestly.
Except for Lee Johnson, who is part of a faction and keeps losing week after week on Dark. That poor guy. I love Lee Johnson. I think he's a talented wrestler, and I was so hoping that being a member of the Nightmare family would lead to him finally at least getting like one win. And nope.
No, he's just Cody's young boy.
Week after week after week after week after week after week after week after. God damn it! I just.
I'm telling you, 420 Splash was the best thing about Dynamite this week.
Yeah, fair enough.
Chucky got to say a curse word.
That's true.
But, okay, oh my god. Thank you for reminding me about something else I hated about this episode. So, wait a minute, let me get this straight. So, Miro walks out wearing his pajamas, starts, like, showboating his, like, bling. And he challenges him to a match. And if he loses, he's going to be his, what is it called, a towel boy?
Young boy.
His young boy, which seems problematic already. But anyways, and then he's just like, yeah, sure, let's just get this over with. Like, as if he's fed up of this stupid storyline. Like, he himself, the wrestler, is fed up of being in the storyline. He's like, yeah, let's just do it. It's like, let's just do it. Let's just get the storyline over with. And, like, he's, like, speaking for us, the audience. It's like, yes. Like, again, like, what am I missing here? Like, last week, your partner was taken to a hospital were we ever told exactly what happened and who attacked them? And why are you just standing there not even trying to defend yourself or attack Miro and Kip when they're the ones that put your best friend in the hospital? Like, this makes no sense. Like, again, this entire episode was a complete mess. Even the interviews they couldn't do properly.
No, it was all pretty rough. I'm having trouble thinking about a storyline I've cared less about in a long time than this Miro Kip Sabian feud with Best Friends and Orange Cassidy. Like, the only thing that would make me care about this feud is if it led to a match between Orange Cassidy and Penelope Ford. That's the only way it would be interesting to me, because I don't care about any other aspect of this. I like all the wrestlers involved. I do not care about
It
this.
just feels like it's dragged on for a really long time without any like really good punches. You know, like there's no like, what is the payoff to all this? You know?
Well, the payoff is a match between Orange Cat. This weird, like it's I guess a tag match. I don't know. I think it goes all the way back to the start of the feud, where again I remember Rick not liking this when they smashed the arcade.
Yeah, I didn't think that was terrible, but how has it dragged on for so long?
I know. That's a feud that should have been over in like 3 weeks.
Honestly,
this is, and they've used so much screen time on for something that no one is invested in, as was just said, including the wrestlers involved in it. And someone needs to they just sit Miro down, and someone needs to dress him. I don't know what he's wearing half the time. I don't care. It's driving me nuts. I like Miro. I liked him when he was Rusev. I like him as Miro in AEW. But
you don't like Bulgarian nouveau riche fashion?
Apparently I don't.
Because that's the thing. Like, even that terrible jungle sweatsuit he was wearing is like thousands of dollars.
No, but here's the thing. I don't have a problem with his character. Like, I'm like poking fun of what he's wearing, but I think like that's the point. Like, he wants to be eccentric and whatever. I don't have a problem with Miro. I have a problem with the story that he's part of, like the feud between him and Best Friends. That's my problem.
Without stakes, like in the Best Friends Santana Ortiz feud, like there were escalating stakes each week. Getting his mom involved and doing this stuff, and it was escalating. This has just been, I don't like you, I'm going to beat you up. Okay, don't beat us up.
There's no chemistry between these four men at all. Between Kip and Best Friends and Miro, like it's not working. So they need to end it quick, end it next week. Just please use Miro for something better, because he's amazing. Like, put Miro versus freaking Penelope Ford. That would be more interesting.
I would rather watch that. You know what? And this is the thing that drives most nuts about all of this. With this weird feud and all these dumb backstage segments they keep doing with them, how much have any of the 6 people involved in this wrestled? Like, Best Friends have barely wrestled tag matches. Miro and Kip barely wrestled. Penelope Ford, that match that she had at the Brody Lee Tribute was one of very few matches that she's had since this whole angle began. Orange Cassidy, who was pushing towards being one of their top guys, has largely faded into the background of this dumb feud. Like, it's ruining careers.
Well, I think that's a little extreme. I think it's ruining, like, their time on screen for the past few weeks. But we all like these wrestlers, like the 3 of us. We just don't like the storyline. But I don't think we're alone. I don't think most AEW fans like the story at all.
It's just dragged on too long without any stakes.
It leads...
Like, I get that... Yeah, writing in Trent's injury into a hospital spot to try to raise the stakes, but we've already lost interest.
We lost interest a long time ago, yeah. And he's so unique and different. So I like Miro just being Miro. Like, Miro dressing the way he dresses. Miro cracking these stupid jokes. Miro just being, whatever. I actually kind of like the whole thing with Kip Sabian getting married and them having like this big wedding. It's just a storyline. Get it over with.
Let's get to it.
Yeah.
It just feels like it's been stretched. Like, it's like the bubble gum when you stretch it, and we're getting to the point where it's all going to break and no one cares.
Oh my God! You know what I kind of want to happen now? I know they're a real life couple. That can be what's going to be. But for kayfabe purposes, I hope Penelope leaves Kip for Orange Cassidy. Like, I hope she on the just leaves them at the altar, walks away because, as JR very nicely pointed out repeatedly, wrestling weddings never end well. So I hope she just that would be some actual stakes in the feud.
Yeah,
that would make me very happy.
Something needs to happen.
Oh.
I mean, obviously something's going to happen with the wedding, but everything about this has been so lame. Like, it has to just be insane. Like, I don't know, Lana coming naked out of a cake or something. Like, just, we need to be blown away because right now, like, none of us care.
Who comes out naked?
Lana? It was a joke.
Sammy?
What? No,
Joking,
I said
maybe.
Lana.
No, I'm saying
Wait.
Sammy.
Oh. No, that was a dream you had.
Anyhow, I have faith that eventually Miro will do something great in AEW. I think it's just going to take a few more weeks, but I'm hoping that this was just a bad start to the new year and the rest of the year will be better. 2020 was amazing for AEW. And the last thing I'm going to say or ask, actually, is did you guys hear the rumors that they're moving out of Daly's place very soon?
Yeah.
No, I don't think that's a rumor. They are. Like,
They are? Okay.
Yeah, that's the thing that's happening.
Where? When? Why?
Miami within the next couple of weeks. Yeah. Apparently Jacksonville is too cold for filming wrestling. It's like 7 degrees.
With the wind chill, it's like minus 30 out here today or something.
I know.
Poor guys. It's only hot there. Yeah, it's minus 20 here where I'm at right now with the wind chill.
Yeah, I think it
Go
got
wrestle
down to
outside.
5 degrees the other day. Global warming is quite mild out here now.
So wait a minute. I'm always confused about Fahrenheit versus Celsius. So how cold is it in Jacksonville? Like minus 20?
Celsius in Jacksonville?
Yeah,
it's like 5 degrees Celsius.
What? That's like summertime.
I'm outside in shorts in that weather.
That's like spring.
Yeah, I think they said it was like 30 degrees Fahrenheit or something.
Oh my god. And Chris Jericho's complaining about this. Chris Jericho's from Winnipeg.
Oh, okay, 30 is like -1. So okay, it's getting close to 0 out there, but
Okay,
still.
I'll give them that then. Yeah, okay. If it's minus, I'll give them that. Chris Jericho hasn't lived in Winnipeg in decades. I don't think he's lived through a real winter in a long time. Florida's been home for quite some time for him. So,
Speaking of Winnipeg, did you see that insane promo that Don Callis did?
Yes.
On Road 2?
Yes.
That was crazy. I loved it. But it was bananas.
Yeah, Don Callis actually had a killer ass promo.
Yeah, it's pure nonsense, and the stuff he says about Ray Phoenix, it's just hilariously over the top.
Wait, I do have one more question. Sorry, guys. Can Ray Phoenix speak fluent in English?
I don't think so.
No, I didn't think so either.
Not really, no.
Because I was going to say, would they give someone who doesn't speak fluent English a championship title, but they gave Shida the belt, and I know it's a women's championship and not the world title, but still, I figure if they do with the women, they could do with the men. But I don't think he could speak really good English. Yeah.
Well, that's why they paired him up with Pac, so.
here's the thing. I sincerely don't care whether or not one of my favorite things on the face of the earth is when Asuka jumps on commentary on Raw and just screams at people in Japanese because she just screams. And I don't even know if it's bad, and it's amazing. And I mean, everything she does, I love. That's probably not the best example, but still, it's fantastic. I don't give a crap. I just want to see them win.
Yeah, I honestly kind of wish that there were more promos cut in native languages with, translations or subtitles and like, okay, some people don't like to read their TV, but like, come on.
But here's the other thing. 90% of wrestling promos say the exact same thing. We've been watching wrestling for decades.
Yeah.
Even if we don't speak the language, I'm pretty sure like 90% of the time I get the gist of the promo.
I mean,
they look
even
at the
when
camera.
Miro premiered, like he did half of his promo in Bulgarian.
Yep, absolutely.
He was just so fired up. He just switch to Bulgarian.
I'm totally there for it too. I'm like, do your promos in Japanese, do them in Spanish, do them in Bulgarian. I'm good.
Yeah.
I don't need to know every word said.
It's not what
to get
you
the
say,
gist.
it's the way you say it.
Totally. It's the camera
Like
angles, the look
that's
of the
promos 101.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I'm down for it. I'm good with it. put some gold on. Like, I can't. This comes back to Britt Baker as well. Like, if Britt Baker hadn't been injured for a large chunk of 2020, she would have been champion by now. Let's be honest. If it hadn't been for issues with the pandemic, Ray and or Penta would have held some sort of belt and would have been tag champions or TNT or even world champion possibly by now. The reality is everything was screwed up this year, so the game's changed a bit, but we're way past time that people like Britt Baker and Ray Phoenix and Penta have, and even Pac, have belts around their waists.
Look, if you're Tony Khan and you are listening to this podcast, which I doubt, but just in case you are, you should totally let them speak in their native tongue, because it'll be such a game changer when it comes to marketing and promoting your promotion, your wrestling promotion in different countries. It's no different than the NBA. When Tony Parker started playing with the San Antonio Spurs, NBA blew up in France. Like, NBA is like huge worldwide. Wrestling like is huge worldwide, but when you have a wrestler from so-and-so country speaking so-and-so language on your program, holy cow, that would really boost the popularity in different countries. It's no different than, you know, half of the roster being from like Canada, like Winnipeg, Montreal. Like, you know, we talked about Uno and Grayson last week, how they're from Montreal, and that just like made us like so much happier watching the promotion. I would love to see those dudes speak French. Like, remember back in the days, the Quebecers and Rick the Model Martel, and, you know, like, God, do it, AEW, do it.
They should just let them speak Canadian more and say a boot.
Despite all the negativity, we still love AEW.
AEW. One bad episode doesn't make a bad program overall. Like, they were off that episode. Things didn't click. It happens.
Yeah, it's like Game of Thrones. Remember, like the second last season, we were complaining about every episode.
But here's the they're putting together right now a solid 4 hours of wrestling every week. Plus all their YouTube content, all their other YouTube content. You know what? And the vast majority of it is great. And if you get one episode off, it's going to happen. I mean, just don't let it slide down to WWE territory where, like, the vast majority of Raw just isn't great.
Like I said, the problem with it being this specific episode, it's that it was promoted as one of their big events, a 2-part special. They brought in celebrities. That's the problem. Like, that's for me, like, if it was just an episode of Dynamite in the middle of March, it would have been okay, it's just a bad episode of Dynamite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They pushed it like a pay-per-view.
It's extra bad because our expectations were pushed so high, so. Better luck next time.
Wah, wah. All right. That brings us to the end of this week's episode of Talk AEW. Of course, I'm Ian Goodwillie here with Mariko McDonald.
Bye-bye.
And Ricky D, the editor-in-chief of GoombaStomp.com and TiltMagazine.net.
And every week I have to remind our listeners that you can find the show on Podbean, iTunes, YouTube, Spotify, Deezer, Listen Notes, iHeartRadio, Pandora, everywhere. And you can find all the links over at GoombaStomp.com, along with our weekly coverage of AEW. Ian writes reviews of Dark and Dynamite. And we have a bunch of new writers, Ian, that are joining our crew that are going to start writing about wrestling. So... yeah, lots of AEW stuff to check out over at GoombaStomp.com.
Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next week.
Buck hunt. Every time I shoot, better duck, son. And I know that you don't really want none. When acclaimed in the house, better bounce. Say bye to your loved ones. Buck season. Back on the hunt this evening. We here for a couple reasons. The Young Bucks got the tag team title. Say you're the best, but I need a reminder. Who quit Twitter cause the fans all hate him? Who kissed Dave's ass for a star rating? You guys. Now you getting destroyed. The Acclaim turn the Young Bucks into Young Boys. Buck hunt. Every time I shoot, better duck, son. And I know that you don't really want none. When acclaimed in the house, better bounce. Say bye to your loved ones. Homie, when I shoot, never miss. When the Bucks see us, better quit. More than one woman, never kiss. The Acclaimed is the future. Y'all reminisce like, hey, Platinum did it again. You will have to deactivate Twitter again. Run to your phones and you better start blocking. Cause I'm so popular, all I do is pop them. Reading your book and it put me to sleep. Turning your face to a look of defeat. Watch as I'm putting my foot in your teeth. These cats is looking real pussy to me. Buck hunt. Every time I shoot, better duck, son. And I know that you don't really want none. When acclaimed in the house, better bounce. Say bye to your loved ones. Buck hunt. Every time I shoot, better duck, son. And I know that you don't really want